The mountain winds howl through the pass of bones, carrying the stench of iron and spilled entrails. Below, the battlefield stretched in a crimson tableau, broken spears jutting from the earth, like the ribs of a fallen beast, the dead piled in heaps where the phalanx had made its last stand. And among them, one figure still stood, Leon of the Iron Fist, the last, the first.
The trial of blood.
They had come at dawn, 500 Messenian warriors, their bronze glinting like a river of fire as they flooded the narrow pass. Against them stood 300 Spartan youths, barely more than boys, their shields locked in a wall of oak. And desperation, Leon fought at the center. His spear snapped within the first hour, leaving him with only his xiphos, the short, brutal blade that now ran red with the lifeblood of a dozen men. A Messenian axe took his left eye, the pain white-hot as splintered bone grated against exposed nerves. He killed the axeman with a thrust, through the groin, twisting the blade upward until the man's screams turned to wet, bubbling silence.
The turning tide.
By midday, the Spartan line had buckled, one by one. Leon's brothers fell, Lycurgus with his throat torn open by a barbed arrow, Demaratos trampled beneath panicked horses, Theron clutching his own spilled intestines as he crawled toward a dying enemy. The pass ran slick with blood, the ground sucking at Leon's sandals as he fought on, his remaining eye burning with unched tears and battle dash lust. Then the horn, a sound like the earth itself splitting open. From the cliffs above, rocks rained down, crushing Messenian skulls like overripe melons. Leon looked up to see the elders of Sparta lining the ridges, their aged arms hurling death upon the invaders.
The birth of a legend.
What happened next would be sung about for 1,000 years. Leon charged alone, his body moved with a grace that bordered on divine, the xiphos becoming an extension of his arm. He carved through the Messenian ranks like a scythe through wheat, each strike precise, brutal, efficient. A spear took him through the thigh. He used the shaft to pull the wielder close and slit his throat. A sword slash opened his back. He spun with the pain, his counterstroke removing the attacker's hand. At the wrist, when the Messenians finally broke, it was not from the rocks, it was from him.
The aftermath.
Dusk found Leon kneeling among the dead, his xiphos buried to the hilt in the chest of the Messenian king. The weapon would remain there later, when they came to collect the bodies. No man could pull it free. The elders descended from the cliffs, their faces unreadable. One approached, removing his own crimson cloak to drape it over Leon's shoulders. No words were spoken, none were needed.
The forging of Sparta.
That night, as the funeral pyres lit the mountainside, the first true Spartan stood watch over the dead. His missing eye wept blood, his grip never loosened on his new spear. And when dawn came, the world would know no army could break them, no force could move them, for they were no longer men, they were Sparta.
The legacy begins.
In the years that followed, Leon's story became law. The elders instituted the Agoge, the brutal training regimen that would turn Spartan boys into living weapons. They remembered how Leon had fought through his wounds, and so they starved their youths to teach them endurance. They recalled his unbreakable will, and so they flogged boys until they could take the pain without crying out. Leon himself became something more than human. When he walked through the streets of Sparta, mothers pulled their children close, not out of fear, but reverence. His ruined eye socket never healed properly, the scar tissue pulling his face into a permanent snarl. The Messenian blade still lodged in his thigh remained there, the flesh having grown around the metal rather than yield to its removal.
The final battle.
They found him decades later, standing upright in his armor at the edge of the Eurotas River. His spear was planted firmly in the earth. His remaining eye stared eastward, toward lands unconquered, and though his chest no longer rose with breath, not a single Spartan dared to move him. They built his tomb around him, leaving him as he stood eternal sentinel of a nation forged in blood and iron. And when the Persians came centuries later, their scouts would swear they saw a one-eyed ghost, watching from the cliffs, waiting, judging, remembering.